So this is my first YouTube video. Slay. And I thought, what better way to do a first YouTube video than to talk about my time coming out. I know. Now, I don't know how this video is going to go, whether it's going to be emotional, whether we're going to have a good time, whether it's going to be rocky, but we're going to fuck with it. So, reference, tattoo on my arm, is the day that I actually came out as gay. So let's start with that. I came out on the 13th of September 2015. So I just turned 13 years old and I was currently in year 8 in my secondary school. In the UK, it's called year 8. I don't know what it is anywhere else. So I was 13, 12, 13. I was 13. Basically, at the time, I have been struggling mentally. Like, when I look back at it now, I'm just kind of like, gal, like, it was so unnecessary. It was so unnecessary. But when I look back at it now, I'm just kind of like, you was mentally fucked up, gal.
You was fucked up, gal, to the max.
But yeah, we've grown. Anyways, back to the story. So I had been having feelings since I was about 12 years old that, you know, I did actually like the same sex as myself. When I was young, when I was like a toddler and really young in primary school, I was always quite feminine. I never had guy mates. I always hung about with the girls, always played like house, hopscotch, played with the hula hoops, stuff like that with the girls, played hairdressers, played with Barbies, played, you know, dressed up as Disney princesses. Believe it or not, I make a fucking amazing Cinderella. And, you know, my mum probably thought, you know, she knows where this is going to go. Fast forward to secondary school, right? Went downhill. Fast forward to secondary school, and that's probably where it got a little bit worse for me, because back when I started secondary school in 2014, people in my year, we was all so young. We was all 12. We had no knowledge of, like, things in life. We had no acknowledgement of what, like, different sexualities. We had no acknowledgement of maturity, anything like that. And it was quite obvious before I even said anything to anyone about the way I was feeling, that people looked at me and was just like, yeah, he's not like us. He's a lot different than us. And that did hit me quite hard, because I would go home and I would just sit here and think, like, I wish I was normal. Like, there's no such thing as normal. But in my head at that time, I was like, I really wish that I was normal in society's point of view. I really want my classmates to like me and not sit here and think that I'm some sort of freak. And that is the term that I used, okay? But I'm not a freak. I'm still a person. And I started having, like, massively feelings of liking guys when I was about 12, in my first year in secondary school, but I never really told anyone. Whenever anyone would ask me if I was gay, I would always be like, no. Like, I'm not gay. And I got teased for it. I did. And I got
massively bullied in secondary school.
But we was all kids. We was all immature, you know. End of the day, bullies just pick on people to make themselves feel bigger and just to show up in front of their friends. That's what it is. And that's what it was back in my school. Anyway, fast forward to year 8 when I did decide to come out. I remember that I had a really, really bad day, like a really bad mental health day. And I just wasn't feeling my best. And I just was really upset at school. And at my school, we have like a student support manager for every single year group. And at the time, my student support manager had called my mum and was like, you know, Liam's had a really bad day at school. Like, I think he needs to talk to you about something. Because I already, like, told my student support manager about this, like, how I think I was gay and stuff like that. And I remember coming home and I was just so distraught and terrified of my mum finding out that I just ran into the bathroom, right? Like, literally, picture this in your head, right? Yeah, I get home from school, I run down, I run into my house, run into my bathroom, lock the door, bag on the floor, sit in the bathtub, and I just start bursting out crying, okay? When I look back at it now, I'm like, fucking hell, Liam, you are a drama queen, okay? You are a drama queen. Next thing I know, my mum's come through the door, and I hear her call my name, and at this point, I'm like, fuck, shit. Climb out that bathroom window, Liam, and just run into the woods. Obviously I didn't. She opens the door and she goes, what's happened? And I just burst out crying even more. I was like, I can't give you grandkids. You're not going to love me no more. You're not going to see me the same. You know, I'm going to disappoint you. And she was just, my mum knew exactly what I was talking about. As I said, she had this feeling for years. She knew exactly what I was talking about. And I remember telling her and just coming out of it going, like, I think I'm gay. And I remember her just hugging me hugging me. We was in the kitchen at this point. She hugged me by the kitchen sink and she was like, you're still my son, I still love you, this, that and the other. And it was appreciated to know that although my sexuality was different to other people's, it didn't make her see me any differently than her son. Fast forward to when I actually came out openly in school, possibly the rest of year 8 and the rest of year 9 just got so bad because people knew that I was gay now and people took that to their advantage and be like, that's what makes him an easy target because he is gay, kind of thing. And it was just so terrible. But when we fast forward to year 10 and year 11, and that's when I kind of got my clique of friends and my group of friends. I don't really speak to any of them now, but I got like a group of friends at the time between those 2 years that like backed me consistently through everything that happened. But the bullying wasn't as bad. It was more or less the bullies were being okay with me. They were putting everything that happened in the past years behind us, which, you know, at the end of the day, back then we were all kids. We were all kids. We're all immature. It is what it is kind of thing. When I told my dad, my mum had to tell my dad for me. I was too afraid to tell my dad. I was way too scared. Considering, like, I am my dad's only biological son, his only biological child, for me, it was like, if I'm not the way he wants me to be, I'm really going to mess this up. I'm really going to mess this up. So she told him. And I remember the time, he didn't really believe it. He was like, it's a phase, like, he's young, he's only 13, like, you know, let's just leave it for a side, like, push it aside. And it wasn't until I was 14 and I started dating someone.
Wasn't really serious, you know what I mean? Your kids, you have a relationship, it was one of those ones, alright, let's not read too much into it.
And my dad met him, right? My dad met him because I happened to be in the area. I wanted to borrow money from KFC. Bit of chicken wings, you know, a bit of a jumbo box. My dad met him and I think that's the moment that my dad realised, like, shit, like, this is who my son is and I have to accept it. And both my parents have been lovingly accepting, like, they really have. And then it came to the point of my grandparents knowing. Now, my dad's side of the family knew. They knew because obviously he had told them. And they accepted me straight away. My mum's side of the family, her parents, I was a bit more worried about because they're quite old-fashioned. And I was quite terrified that I was going to be a disappointment to them. They were going to disown me, this, that and the other. Especially my granddad. And me and my granddad were never really close when I was younger. We were never really close when I was that old. But they found out and they accepted me for who I was. And now, like, you know, 7 years later, I'm, like, extremely close to both my grandparents. Like, I talk to them all the time. But yeah, 7 years later, here we are. And coming out was probably one of the best decisions I'd ever made. And this goes out to my followers. I get this question all the time, like, I want to come out, I don't know what to do, stuff like this. I always say that if you really do want to come out, but you're scared, do it. I know it's easier said than done, believe me, coming from me. I know it's easier said than done, but you can't lock yourself away for so many years and keep who you truly are a secret. Not because, you know, because you're afraid, because if you lock yourself away and keeping it a secret, you're stopping yourself from being happy and you're stopping yourself from being who you really are and expressing who you really are and letting people see the real you. Obviously, I can't speak the same for how people are going to react, but I will say that, you know, not everyone's going to react good, not everyone's going to react bad. People are going to support you, and there will be some people that will, you know, walk away. Like, don't get me wrong, I came out when I was 13, I'm now 20, and I still have, like, arsehole people say what they want to say. But for me, I'm like, I couldn't care. I've heard it all before, been called all the names underneath the sun, I am who I am. Okay? I've come with the terms to the fact of this is who I am. Back when I was 13, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to come to the terms that this was who I was going to be. Yet now that I'm 20 years old and shit has happened through the last 7 years, I'm like, this is who I am, this is me, and I'm not going to change for nobody. I am who I am, and this is exactly who I was meant to be. And it is who I'm going to be. I'm going to be nothing but me. And you guys should do the same. Because you want a life of happiness. You don't want a life of being miserable and feeling afraid and feeling locked away and shut from being who you truly are. Remember that one. But yeah, that's my first YouTube video. I know it's a little bit weird, but I was just like, sat in my room like, I've recently come back to YouTube, what should I do? So yeah, that's my first YouTube video, guys. I don't know when there's going to be a next one. Could be tomorrow, could be a couple of weeks, could be a month, who knows? But love ya, and thanks for coming to see the video if you did watch it. So yeah, slay babes, and have an amazing day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world.